What a way to start off my YouTube program. Usually I did movie reviews on Facebook, but since now I'm doing a little bit of a more extended edition out of my vlogging. It's funny that the first subject I decided to talk about YouTube is not about a movie review, mainly because for two reasons. First, I wanted to talk about this subject more than anything else to the public. And second is that I didn't find any good movies that I want to review this week. Maybe I'll try harder. But in the meantime, let's go with the thing that I wanted to talk about. I wanted to talk about an anime series that came out, I think kind of now a month ago. I did binge watch it, and some people who are in the anime community are talking about it. The one I'm talking about is none other than the Netflix series, Devilman Crybaby. Well, Devilman. Created by Go Nagai. I gotta admit that I grew up with Go Nagai, but in another side when I was a kid. I was actually more a Messenger kid more than a Devilman. Devilman is kind of obscure, especially for people who grew up on the 60s and has a childhood. And for very legit reasons. A little bit of a backstory of me and Devilman. I only knew Devilman when I got into a little bit into anime, but I just knew him by name. That is until a friend of mine showed me the live-action movie of Devilman, and for the first time that I saw it, I was surprised, and I kind of liked that it savored a little bit some sadistic tendency that my dark side of humanity has. And I'll get to that when I talk about the main series that I'm going to talk about. But then I began to do a lot more research about Devilman, then read the manga, then I had a second viewing of that live action movie, and I began to know a little bit about Devilman. For those who doesn't know, the series is about this guy who can turn into a demon known as Devilman, because in the terminology of that world, a human who is merged with a demon, it's called a Devilman. It debuted in a manga, again created by Go Nagai, the creator of Messenger, and I gotta admit that this is one of the biggest hardcore series I have ever read, because it's unrelentingly violent and it has a lot of profanity, nudity, and a lot of religious tones that is very sensitive to the people who can't handle this stuff. Not to mention that it has so much of a climax that is totally one of the biggest downer endings I have seen in any kind of story of that magnitude. And well, there is an anime series, and the anime series, they tone it down a lot, and it just made it into the typical superhero fighting villains, but they kept a little bit the core out of it. Except they clean it up, and it has a little bit of something that the Japanese remember by. There's also the OVAs. There's also the supposed spin-off called Violence Jack. But that's a subject for another time, probably. But right now we're concentrating on the Devilman Crybaby, a series that I was surprised when I saw the trailer. Although a little bit in my heart, I did want to see a more faithful adaptation to the manga series, but there's only two things. First of all, the live action movie, while it is faithful to the manga, it doesn't hold up too much. Let's say that the pacing I found out a little bit too slow, and the special effects were meh. But I'll give it this. There is this an Afro-American news reporter who is awesome in that movie. I don't know why. I get this kick out of this Bill O'Reilly kind of reporter on that news, and he's kind of unintentionally laughable. But Devilman Crybaby, there were some things that I hoped to see, but at the same time, I was kind of skeptical on the subtitle, Crybaby. It sounds like we're gonna see a very whiny character. But still, I was so open and decided to watch it. I watched the whole series over the course of 2 days. And now this is my review. Devilman Crybaby is good. It is good, but I had some nitpicks to deflate the ego of many people to say that it's wonderful, it's great. Yes, if you like it, don't worry. It's pretty good in its own right. And it makes some things that are admirable, but also some things that I kind of disagree, but mostly in an opinionated level. First of all, I'm gonna say that Devilman Crybaby, on the span of 10 episodes, it is faithful to the basic plot of the manga. It has some creative liberties, most notably the contemporary setting, because Devilman was created in the 60s. Devilman Crybaby, they adapted so we can have it on modern times. So much that there's even a scene in which we get a still frame of Donald Trump. Don't worry, he's not promoting anything. He's just trying to calm down some politicians who are on panic. But he doesn't move, he doesn't talk. But still, that'll let you know that it is based on contemporary time. There's people who are rappers also. They rap in this modern, I think American Japanese style. And don't worry, the rap is okay. It's not like there are people who pretend to be rappers and they do some awful rapping. No, they did very well on those ones. They got smartphones, but technically, it updated from the technology from the 60s, and they had extra careful to make all those things don't interfere with the overall storytelling of it, but at the same time takes advantage of it with the use of social media and internet. So the story centers on our main protagonist, Akira Furo. He is a wimpy kid, very weak, very sensitive, to the point that he even cries when he just heard about some random stranger being murdered. And he starts out like that. But one of the additions that they made on the Devilman Crybaby is that he takes part on the track and field events alongside his best friend / girlfriend / the girl who her family takes care of him while his parents are overseas. Her friend named Miki. They live happily with him still being very sensitive, very weak, and he can't defend for himself. But he still tries to do his best to be a good person, even trying to defend Miki from a gang of rapper gangsters. In which, again, like I said, they do have some very interesting way of freestyle rapping. That is until he encounters his childhood friend Ryo Sasaki. I think it was Sasaki. No, Ryo Asuka. he was his childhood friend from when they were kids, and he drags him along to a discovery that he made because Rio was on South America making some investigation with some scientist. And apparently that scientist becomes possessed by demons because they were studying demonology or sometimes archaeology, demonology, and he realized a horrible truth in which demons were the original owners of the earth, and they managed, and they're apparently rising to take over the planet again, and because they managed to adapt and possess humans. And when they possess humans, they technically kill off the host, and they go around, well, killing them to eat them, and doing the usual things that demons do. But apparently during the investigation, he found out that since the demons are too powerful for humans to handle, the best way to defend against the demons is becoming a demon themselves. And that is by having a heart that overcomes the powers of the demons. So they can kill off the demon host and obtain their powers. So since Rio trust Akira on the whole thing, he just decided that, please, you gotta help me. So we gotta get the powers of those demons. So okay. I'm not sure, but I will. So how are we gonna do it? With the bath. Because in a way to lure demons into their domain is that they're attracted by desires, let's say, and the best way is by a sabbath. For those who doesn't know, a sabbath is kind of like a ritualistic hedonistic party in order to call for the demon. So they go there, and the sabbath is really, really wild, but Rio actually amps up the whole thing by breaking a bottle and slashing everyone's throats to make it even more hardcore. And that's when finally the demons come and attack they possess the people, attack the people who are not possessed. And for Akira, well, he gets possessed by the demon named Amon. But since his heart is really, for lack of better words, pure, he managed to overcome it, and he becomes the titular character, the Devilman. And from here on, his personality changes a lot. He becomes taller. The design of him, he becomes more tough. He is more confident. He's more aggressive. He's more badass, I must admit. And this is I kind of like what they did on the design level on the Crybaby series, because in the manga and other series, he kind of looks the same in both instances, when he was a wimp or when he becomes the Devilman himself. Except that in the manga, his only change is that he has a more confident face like this. I'm deadass. No, and in Devilman Crybaby, they even make him physically stronger. And I kind of like that. And while I'm not going to reveal too much about the other spans of the series, there are some instances that I do want to highlight. For example, again, let me tell you about the animation style. The animation is, I find it good, but I'm not going to say that it's spectacular, because the designs and the animation is pretty smooth in the movement, but the designs is something kind of like a mixture between rush, lazy, and not too what was the correct word? Not too detailed, especially on the characters. And I understand that. I understand that they don't add too much details on the character, so they can move easily and more smoothly. But sometimes you kind of notice that in order to cut budget and time, there are instances in which they have to not animate a face or not draw a face or in some instances. But simply put, they have the less is more technique, in which sometimes they do well, sometimes they do great, sometimes they don't. My biggest nitpick is when they're running. There is a running animation that, I don't know why, but it bothers me a lot. Remember that I say that this series it involves track and field? Well, there's a lot of track and field in the thematic of Devilman Crybaby. But apparently they invented the way they're running by having them move like this with their back. I think a very just leaning so exaggeratedly like this. Sometimes they move their hands like this. It looks cool, but there's something that nags me. There are some instances that I noticed that during the animation that I can see the body move and trembling because of the stepping of the feet. But then I noticed that the head has no movement. It's not even feeling the impact when the feet lands on the floor. So you kind of feel like the body is moving, but the head it doesn't. Maybe it's me, but I noticed that because since I am a little bit more observant on animation most of the time, it's something that some people might miss it. If it isn't me, please put it in the comments. I don't know if it's me. Here's another nitpick that I have with Devilman Crybaby. Over the span of the whole series, it's filled with Easter eggs of the Devilman anime series. And yeah, I'm talking about the lighthearted one. And that kind of confused me because how is it that there is that Devilman and Crybaby, but there's also a Devilman manga, Devilman anime? Okay, even though the anime doesn't follow the manga and all this stuff, but still, there's the manga, and it's kind of confusing. Shouldn't the world just imploded because there's Devilman anime? And yeah, they even acknowledge by saying that, hey, there's Devilman. This guy, they're called themselves Devilman. Oh, like the anime? Yeah, probably. Since they follow the manga, why no one managed to read the manga and they're like, oh shoot, it's happening the same. The world has just imploded. It's kind of like that awful movie of the Smurfs when the Smurf finds out that the book of the Smurfs is the Peyo comic book of the Smurfs. Jeez. But thanks to that, we get a really kick-ass remix version of the Devilman theme song from the anime. I love the remix of the Devilman theme song from the early anime. And speaking of soundtrack, this is another thing that is great on Devilman Crybaby, and that is the soundtrack. It's something that you should hear it. So go check it out. Okay, what else there is to talk about? Oh yeah, a little bit of a nitpick that I have on this Devilman Crybaby series, that every single episode there is something very explicitly sexual in it. I think there is no episode where you're gonna see a very heavy sexual tone in the series. You're gonna see either big boobs or extreme nudity or someone masturbating. I probably might see the series, and I'm gonna make a countdown again to see how many times you're gonna see a masturbating scene on this one. You might think that I'm angry and complaining about it, but I am not exactly angry about it because at least that's the point of the series. It doesn't do it because, hey, we have nudity here and there. Maybe partially because it's Netflix and they can get away with most of the stuff unless you don't show it to the sensitive children. But I still have to pinpoint out that I have to warn you that if you can't take heavy sexual tones, you might not gonna enjoy this series. But let me tell you again that if you try to stay away with that with a closed mind and not having an open mind, you might be missing stuff. Because trust me to say that sometimes even in the worst of things, you're missing out some valuable things. And in this case, you might be missing a very interesting story that it kind of defies the style of the superhero genre, because the first half of the story, as well as like in the manga, it follows a little bit like a Monster of the Week formula, but then after the second half, it goes bonkers. It's so apocalyptically heavy. It's just something that came out of my head. But you will be so surprised that it's so over the top. And by the way, when I mean over the top, yes, it's violent as hell, it's gory, it's not pleasant. So another warning, the violence is extreme. But but what I like about these kind of stories is that they don't use the heavy violence and the heavy sex just for the sake of doing it because they do so. They use it as a medium especially for a story that involves demons and later Satan. Yep, Satan is there. I'm not gonna reveal where Satan is involved, but let's say that there is also involved a little bit of homosexuality. But it's implied. Even in the manga, there is something about it. Okay, I got also a little bit of a nitpick on the character of Rio, because first of all, I'm not very keen on his wardrobe. His white coat. I don't know why his white coat kind of reminds me of what Colress from Pokemon is wearing. But don't worry, his position in the series is pretty good. But my biggest gripe on him is that since I saw the Japanese version with subtitles, I gotta say that the voice actor who doesn't know how to speak English, his English is terrible. This is the most wooden English I have seen from a guy. And I know that he's trying to convey a Japanese trying to speak English. I know that some Japanese, when they speak English, they have difficulty on making an accent. But I heard better. Man, that his English is really terrible. And so, what else there is? Again, I like the themes and the arcs of many of the characters. They also gave an arc to one of the gangster rappers, and also a character who is kind of like Miki's rival, who she also becomes one of the most interesting, likable characters, in which he starts off as a character with a big grudge against Miki, to the point that she even wants to adopt her name because what was her, because they shared similar names. Hold on a second, I just want to see what's the name of it. Miko, yeah. Yeah, her name is Miko, but she is kind of like the second place of the track and field, unlike Miki. She has a very good arc, and I encourage you to analyze it when you watch it. And well, again, the track and field does take place and have a little bit of a sentimental value on the series. And also we got the ending, which again is faithful, but it's depressing. It's depressing, it's violent, and it's really a downer. It's a really of a downer ending, and you might want to hug your teddy bear once you see this. But at the end, I think I did enjoy Devilman Crybaby. But despite my nitpicks here and there, I want to pinpoint that I like the series. I like the series, but I don't think it was great. It just did what it did. It took advantage of the setting, and I congratulate the creator for doing something like that. Pretty much that's all I have to say. I hope you enjoy my views on a series that involves demons, violence, sex, track and field, rappers, and Satan.